As chronicled in the book, Birulpap wandered all over India, from the deep south to the far north, abandoning the comforts and conveniences of the earthly life, reliant only on the great provider. Often the sky was his roof, wild streams quenched his thirst, total strangers fed him in unknown places. Indeed, no one was a stranger for him. He found Ram in everyone on the way. He shared his endless love and compassion with the whole of humanity. Intense aspiration, coupled with earnest practice to attain the highest, quickened his spiritual progress, and in a short time, he had the vision of his beloved God everywhere, within and without. The result was unending bliss. Having thus attained the supreme goal of life, he started on his mission to guide and serve mankind, to awaken it to the awareness of God by founding Anand Ashram in 1931. In this context, his teachings are a clear and direct signpost. However, why this stop sharing? It jumps, Many devotees were inspired by him to take up his seminal work, In Quest of God, for an in-depth study. While carrying out this experiential exploration, it became obvious to the devotees that reaching the heights Papa attained in such a short span of time requires a further serious approach to and a more rigorous discipline in their spiritual practices. Complacency is seemingly a major roadblock in their endeavor. Being easily contented with mere vocal chanting or doing bhajans and attending satsang does not seem to take their journey much further or farther. In this context, it would be appropriate to remember the words of Puja Mataji Krishnabai. I want you all to read it, In Quest of God. 11 times so that your mind would turn within. Turn within. Had it been word to word file, no problem. There is a special reason. Nirguna Brahman. There is a special reason. For Papa making me ask you to read In Quest of God daily for 11 days. It is intended to take you with Him. You may not attain Papa within you on the 11th reading, but you will at least have started going with Him. It is like entering the ashram gates. Once you are within the gates, you have nothing to fear. Likewise, once you turn your gaze within, you have nothing to worry. Prompted by Mataji's inspiring words, devotees were able to dig deep into the text and unearth many learnings that would immensely empower them in their spiritual pursuits. Needless to say, this exercise is just a humble beginning. Nowhere near the end. It is just a dip in the ocean. Swadhyaya knows no full stop. In this studies guide, there are relevant learnings. Those relevant learnings were added to the end of each chapter so as to enable the readers to deepen and broaden their understanding of the text. If there is one word that can sufficiently describe the content and the intent of In Quest of God, That word must be expansion. He hoped that his book will serve all as an invitation and a reminder to expand themselves from where they started to where they want to reach. In this introduction, there are so many salient points. So first of all, let us try to remember those, because that is the word which is going to direct us within speech. What are the points? In Quest of God, the first book authored by beloved Papa Swami Ramdas may mean many things to many people. To a casual reader, it is a witty, free-flowing travelogue worth reading. To a literature enthusiast, its linguistic flair and unique narrative are astounding and captivating. But to a seeker of truth, a true sadhaka, this is a quintessential spiritual guide that offers clear insight, candid out, clear cut out. So the first para itself gives us some guideline. So this is our spiritual guide. In Quest of God is our spiritual guide. That is the theme of the first para. Whenever we need any guidance, we just open it. Just because when we open it, our mind may say, I have already gone through. I know it's chapter number so and so mean that. The mind may refuse to make a deep impression. So that is why we say it's a spiritual guide. So in this book, milestones and guideposts, what has been done is, behind every chapter, even behind the first article itself, and what is it that we can easily understand? As a guide, how does it serve us? That has been, an attempt has been made. Even now we can improve it. Because it's only a start. At that time, whatever that has stuck to us, that has been put in these words. Now, after doing a little more inter-study or swadhyaya, we might be able to add more and more. In fact, that should be the aim of all sadhakas. Not to get stuck with what already we have seen. So each and every chapter, we try to read, close the book, and then try to understand what is its guide for me. So the first para says, it's a quintessential spiritual guide that offers clear insight and candid outlook. Now the second para. Papa Swami Ramdas is a seeker turned seer. That means the seer is the outcome of the seeker. It is found, he found what he sought for. He found his refuge in the Infinite One, and later became the one and only refuge to thousands of devotees and seekers from all walks of life. He was never a preacher. He was truly a preceptor who always lived in communion with the divine. This is a very important expression. Whenever we read something, whenever we memorize something, whenever there is any tendency in us to reproduce something, we draw it from the intellectual storehouse. Papa is warning us, no, do not. That is the job of a preacher. But in his case, because he was ever dwelling in the divine, he was only sharing. He was a preceptor, spiritual preceptor, not a preacher. Those who come to him, he shares his experience. Very important for all of us. We get a tendency, to share something. But at the same time, we should know whether it comes from our academic knowledge or whether it comes from our experiential knowledge. The second para gives us this particular. He was never a preacher. He was a seeker turned seer. And to quote Papa's own words, how did he attain that? Very, very important for all of us. Especially those of us who are sitting in ashram. People may come and ask some questions, we share those things. But this should come back to us. As far as possible, we try to share our own experience. Now and then we can bring Papa's words to authenticate that all. Not our knowledge. So he says, he attained because Ramdas, through a ceaseless repetition of the divine mantra, side by side with the concentrated meditation on the all-pervading, eternal, ever-blissful, indwelling God, had attained freedom and peace even before his advent into the world as a mendicant. Even then he doesn't say a preacher. Even before he set out his yatra on 27th December 1922. Another point he gives, before we take a plunge, we should prepare the equipment. This is especially needed for people who are in ashram, people who come there and ask something. So that means his sadhana, it was 1920 to 1922, it was intense tapas, intense practice. And he got the grip and balance. And then God pushed him out, not to preach, to get himself stabilized in the truth that God is everywhere. Second para. Only I am telling you, I want some people to interact with us. Because these two para, that is every day we will take up. Because it makes us to look within. So these two para, two important points. What do you feel?
Very, very important.
Yeah, very, very important. Anything else? Some serious study.
Very crucial. Swamiji, seeker turned seer, it has got its vivid and candid explanation. Can I have from Swamiji a little more explanation on this point?
He started as a seeker.
Yes.
He cried, where is rest, where is peace?
Yes.
Then intuitively he heard, trust me, thou shalt be free. So from there the seeking started. And on the 37th chapter you will find, now Ramdas leads a serene life.
Seer.
So seeker turned seer.
Seer.
Somebody also said something,
Never a preacher, but only a preceptor.
Never. Because preacher means, the missionary spirit.
Mm-hmm.
It is totally absent then, now also. And people like us who are sitting there and people answer certain things, but they must always hold this in our, because every moment we are a sadhaka only. We have not become competent enough to preach. Whatever he makes us to share, we share, that's all. We don't go out and do anything, excepting in one, nowadays, slowly, we may be doing it unknowingly, like, these 15,500 crore Namajapajna. And then when somebody prompted us to have this website, somebody prompted us to have, what do you call it, newsletter in different languages. Even while handling that, we should be very clear that it is not for preaching. It is as a part of our sadhana, we are trying to share this with that. Because we are enjoying it, it should be enjoyed by as many people as possible. Otherwise, there is a risk of slipping into preacher, unknowingly. Everything we are doing it for our own sadhana, our own sadhana, our own sadhana. So the second para, clear cut. And he started interacting with the public from 27th December, only after he got stabilized, which is clear now in this particular quotation. Ramdas, through a ceaseless repetition of divine mantra, side by side with the concentrated meditation on the all-pervading, eternal, ever-blissful, indwelling God, had attained freedom and peace even before his advent into the world as a mendicant. Very great reminder for all of us. Am I? Because then it becomes an outpouring of our heart, that's all. So these two paras are very, very important. Anything else anybody has got?
We will gain from in quest of God as we approach it.
As we approach it, yeah. But as a seeker, we should know that it is a guide. It's a guide. It's a guide. That means, as you rightly pointed out, if we try to go through certain expressions, we enjoy for that particular time. It doesn't go with it. For example, many of us used to quote, be the period ever so small. But we are checking up, have we been able to do it? Even a particular expression which has attracted our attention. How many times on how many platforms we have repeated this word, but we are looking at ourselves and finding out whether we have been able to practice it. So we should know it's a guide, nothing more than. To others it can be anything. But devotees, sadhakas, it is purely a guide. Oh, I wasted my life, much of my time, right from morning till night, I did not remember it. This is how we try to correct ourselves. I try to remember it means I must have some clarity about what the remembrance stands for. All those things will come. Remembrance not merely something which we have given the definition of remembrance. All those things will come later. So these two important 3 points are there. One is the guide. Second is that it's not, he's a seer turned seeker. So first we have been asked to get ourselves stabilized. And then only we can plunge into it, and then it will never be a missionary work, it will never be a preacher's job. Unknowingly we would have done it, but it's a great reminder to all of us. Anything more? Okay. His teachings are, as chronicled in the book, Virat Papa wandered all over India from the deep south to the far north, abandoning the comforts and conveniences of the earthly life, relying only on the great provider. Often the sky was his roof, wild streams quenched his thirst, total strangers fed him in unknown places. Indeed, no one was a stranger for him. He found Ram in everyone on the way. He shared his endless love and compassion with the whole of humanity. Intense aspiration, coupled with earnest practice to attain the highest, quickened his spiritual progress, and in a short time, he had the vision of his beloved God everywhere, within and without. The result was unending bliss. Having thus attained the supreme goal of life, he started on his mission to guide and serve mankind, to awaken it to the awareness of God by founding Anand Ashram in 1931.
Swamiji, this also gives us a hint that if we follow this path, what Papa has guided for us, we can also become from seeker to seer.
Yeah, that is correct. So this particular para throws some light on Vairagya. We can only read. But how to make it, each one has to try. We can limit, Parimiti, Parigraha. Limited possessions. And in our own way, we can try. He wandered all over India from the deep south to the far north. May not be possible. Abandoning the comforts and conveniences of the earthly life. We cannot abandon, but we can try to reduce. Reliant only on the great provider. That we can try. Only it's a big job, but at least now and then we can say reliant. And in his case, sky was his roof, wild streams, quenched total strangers found him in unknown places, fed him. And no one was a stranger because he found Ram in everyone. He shared his endless love and compassion with the whole of humanity. And then another word, intense aspiration coupled with earnest practice. Intense aspiration coupled with earnest practice to attain the highest, quickened his spiritual progress. And in a short time, he had the vision of his beloved God everywhere, within and without. This is very important. So the
Swamiji, can we break down into small pieces, attainable goals? Like maybe I will spend this many hours chanting or this many hours in reading Papa's book and contemplating on that. Something like that. So can I make some attempts like that?
Exactly. That is how we tried. Because we were hearing, we were not doing any deep study. Because among the various activities, we have also included this. That is the first step. But here now, clear-cut instruction is given. Intense love, intense aspiration, coupled with earnest practice. So how to make the aspiration intense now? Each one of us are asking to ourselves. And what you said now is the practice. Yeah.
Swamiji, Papa's intensity was such that even in case of many mosquitoes and too much cold and too hot season, he was able to chant. And even in a small, little bit uncomfort, we are not able to concentrate, Swamiji.
Yeah, correct. That is right. So within that limitation, how can we do that? And you are right, absolutely right. We are unable to jump into this because, as you said, in one small mosquito humming, that will disturb our sleep. Because God has not God has not provided such an intense vairagya in us or detached from the body level. So that is the reality. Within that reality, but still He is there with us, With all these limitations, He is still within us.
Yes.
So we are now only trying to remember Him. So all right, so because if He has said only on these conditions I will be within you, then you are right. Suddenly I realize that with all my nonsense, with all my limitations, He has been kind enough to stay with me.
Swamiji?
He has not abandoned me.
Swamiji? This is actually a very big, it's like a rope we can hang on to, because wherever I go, whatever I am, He is with me. Yes.
That is the problem. So let us not get depressed or dejected or disappointed because I cannot even tolerate one mosquito, because I cannot forgo one meal, because I cannot expose myself to the various climatic changes. How can I do that? Suddenly Papa answers from within, I am staying with you, With all these, I am staying with you and I want you to remember me as all. Suddenly we feel relieved, We feel relieved from a great load, mental load. Don't you think so?
Yes, sir. Yes, Swamiji. Expansion from within and without. Yes, Swamiji, that's a great solace. That's a great solace.
Great solace. Because we used to think, so many limitations you have given us. But He laughs and says, okay, but you forget that I am with you. Okay. And all that I want you is to remember me. You cannot follow whatever somebody has done. I am with you. With all this limitation, I am with you. So
be the period ever so small.
Try in your own way how to remember me. How to remember me who has been with you, who is with you. So the third para, though he talks about, he touches and kindles in us. He is with us. Intense aspiration coupled with earnest practice. So here intense aspiration to remember Him. We will try to put that word. Intense aspiration to remember Him. Coupled with earnest practices. There should not merely do that. Something, Now I am telling him, I am unable to do that. So he answers from within, you don't worry about that. This is also not your making. I have made you to have those limitations. But I am still there. Try to remember that. And all that I want you is not to change your body, not to change your environment, not to change your place or anything like that. That I will make you to do if I want. Now I want you to remember. The moment you start remembering me, then you will be guided by what I tell you. At the moment, you are not hearing my guidance. Because you are not aware of my presence within. And in Papa's case, the result was unending bliss. And again he went out, in the vision of God, at the feet of God. And then all resulted in what? God made him to set up Anandashram in 1931. For what purpose? To guide and serve mankind. To awaken it to the awareness of God. This is a very important word, awareness of God. Every one of us who have been associating with Anandashram must read and contemplate and see why ashram has been set up. Simple word. To awaken the awareness of God in us. That's all. can do Nam Seva, Dhyan, this and that, Swadhyay, Bhajan, but the decoction final is awaken the awareness of God. So 3 points emerged in the 3 paragraphs. First one that we try now, it is a guide. Every time when I feel directionless, I feel desperate, I feel I am unfit, my equipments are demanding its own price, and with the result I am unable to move further. This is how the inner conflict troubles us. So then we go to the inquest of God as a guide. Okay, second para.
So seeker to seer. Seeker times here.
Suddenly I remember I am now in the Satsang because Papa drew us here. Papa made us to go through his works. Papa made us to chant the Holy and All Powerful Brahma. Papa gave us a lot of clues, directions. But one important thing is, suddenly after hearing something, when I get enamored and charmed, I suddenly slip into a preacher. But immediately then I remember the word. He is a seer turned seeker. Say seeker turned seer. So that means I am a seeker. If I am a seeker, my only one and only aim should be to become the seer. And then, next point.
Never a preacher, correct, but only a preceptor.
Preceptor.
He was not a preacher. So never, let us not slip into, we are not condemning the attitude of other spiritual institutions. God has given them a mission to perform. Here it is very clear, it is a sadhana-oriented action. So here our job is to concentrate on this sadhana and teach. God will take care how it should be spread. One small example, one very small example. What we have been watching for the past 2-3 years, 3 months. Ashram does not have any missionary spirit or publication or publicity or something like that. But even today we get orders for request of God from various countries. How does it happen? New people are joining us. New people are coming to us. Our database is expanding like anything. Maybe they may not be opening whenever we send. But we are not sending to anybody with whom we don't have any contact. Either they personally come here or they join us in our email or WhatsApp. After that, probably the enthusiasm may not be there. So they may not open at that moment. But as far as ashram is concerned, we are very particular that it should reach out to many. He makes us to think various ways and means to reach out to those who have been touched with us. They are there. God would have given some other priorities, some other preferences. So naturally, they would not open. Our friends who are handling this used to tell 30% of the people are opening. So we were asking him how to raise the figure. Immediately, the answer came was, we add many people more so that the 30% may be there, but the number of people will be more. But in that, we are not going out and asking anybody to join us. Then after that, immediately, people come here either through email or personally. Many people come for the first time. Initially, euphoria would have exhausted, evaporated, but still some are keeping in touch with. So all these show us that ashram's mission is not a preacher's or a missionary work. This particular para throws more light. Seeker turned seer. He was never a preacher. He was always reveling in the one which he wanted to attain. He wanted to become one with.
Swamiji. Brahmanandam Paramasukhatam, Swamiji.
Brahmanandam Paramasukhatam. And he also said, prior to taking the plunge, God ensured that he gets stabilized in it. So we can take it here that plunging means whenever I start sharing with others. It should be a part of my sadhana, then it is all right. He prompted me to do this and he approved doing it. Okay, perfectly all right. So a very important point for all of us, especially those who are in the ashram. Anything from the second, anything more from the second para?
Swamiji, when we say seeker to seer, so are we trying to say seer means becoming aware of God?
Seer. When we say seer, seer of the Almighty, Great seers. Evolved souls are named as seers.
He found his refuge in the infinite one.
He found the refuge
in the infinite one, and later became the one.
Correct. First he started identifying Ram came in this form, like that. That he keeps on telling until he found everything is Ram. The moment that is reached, you don't have to specifically say. There is no place where Ram is not. So these are all some of the signs through which he makes us to understand.
Then ceaseless repetition.
Slowly.
Ceaseless repetition. Continuous repetition.
Correct. Ceaseless repetition, whether you and I can do it or not. So we find.
Difficult,
Again, we put up the case before him. You made us to read this umpty number of times. We are thoroughly convinced. We have no doubt. We have fully faith in you, Papa's words. But ceaseless, we have not been able to do ceaseless repetition. It is a blunt truth. So how am I to do? How am I to move forward? Then again, Papa's answer will be, it is all right. You are unable to do, because I have given you so many other preferences. But why don't you remember me? I am there, with you. Even when you have not done what Papa has done, still I am there with you. So now so only he and we are there. So we try to develop a methodology by which we try to remember. Think about it. This is how at the moment he prompts us. Whatever we have read in Papa's life, initially our tendency will be to copy, which is not possible. We have been trying, but it's not possible. Then we realize that each one's mold is different. Each one's mission in this life is different. So we cannot follow any path, but we can take some idea from it. So the idea is that he is within us and without. Intense aspiration coupled with earnest practice to attain the highest quickened spiritual progress, and in a short time you have the vision of his beloved within and without, everywhere. So that we are now concentrating on that word. So Papa, God who is within us, He keeps on telling us that in spite of all these things, you say you did not have this, you don't have this, you don't have, the intensity is also coming and going. These are all the words we use. We don't feel the grace. We don't feel any continuity. We don't feel any sustained feeling. All with then he answers, I know what you have. You don't have to tell me. I am witnessing. All your stocks I am witnessing. But still I am with you. Just turn towards me. You show some inclination, I will try to help you. And in this third chapter, one more aspect here is now expansion. No? As chronicled in the book, Viral Papa wandered all over India from the deep south to the far north, abandoning the comforts and conveniences of the earthly life, reliant only on the great provider. Often the sky was his roof, wild streams quenched his thirst, total strangers led him in unknown places. Indeed, no one was a stranger. From there you start. No one was a stranger. How do we feel that? He found Ram in everyone. He shared his endless love and compassion with the whole of humanity. So these three words try to make us aware of the fundamental thing with which we have to start. Fundamental thing is to expand. To accommodate the care and concern of as many of his creation within us. Yeah, it's very important. Expansion, expansion, expansion. I'm doing Ramnam. Have we expanded? I'm doing bhajan. I have done so many times of reading this particular book, this mantra, this shloka, this Purashcharanam, this Vrata. Everything is all right. But has it enabled you to expand? No one was a stranger for him. He found Ram in everyone on the way. He shared his endless love and compassion with the whole of humanity. So he is giving us somewhere. You can do that, expand it wherever you are. Okay, you cannot sacrifice this, you cannot sacrifice that. Okay, but in your heart, have you expanded to accommodate as many as possible? Initially Rama and later on Ravana. Initially all that is positive, good and loving. Later on whatever that comes. Please think over. And the result was unending bliss. Another clue for all of us. That means, how do I become aware that I am remembering him? Do I feel that fullness? We have got a deposit in the bank. That is we are relying on that. Every time, 24 hours, we may not be able to remember, but in the subconscious state, it will be there, And I try to remember this. The moment I remember, I feel secure. So similarly, unending bliss is He who is within me. Because he made us to get ourselves preoccupied with so many things, we have forgotten. So every now and then, instead of bringing him in any, this is an easy word, because we know when we are happy, what happens within. A sense of fullness, completeness, peace, serenity, love in its truest form. So when we become aware of this, we are remembering. To remember this, we are doing all our action. So expansion leads us to this. So these three paras. Today is Wednesday. Friday, Saturday. Right? Today is Wednesday.
Yes.
Yes, Swamiji.
Thursday. Friday we will take up rest of the para. But these three paras, kindly, there are only 4 or 5 points we have discussed. Somebody can do a little more pumping. But otherwise, at least this can be brought in. Somebody can send us in the email, the synopsis of what we have written.
I will do it, Swamiji. I will do it.
Please. Because this is a wonderful way Papa is guiding us now. All we have been doing is included in this, but at the same time, we feel it's a new approach. It is not a new approach, but it gives us a feeling of new approach. And points have been distilled, so that we can easily remember. Though it stretches in 3 paragraphs, it is distilled to 3 or 4 sentences. And that each one, when we take it, it gives an unending, something which we cannot explain. That is enough. And we also try to get some idea about remembering him. What is meant by remembrance? When I remember what happens in me, what is the feeling I get? I may not be able to express it, but something approximating to that I can try. The feeling of fullness, feeling of absence of otherness, feeling of peace, feeling of freedom from grumblings and complaints, freedom. A feeling of contentment, a feeling of forgiving and forgetting anything that was not okay for us at one time. If these are all coming, you remember the words of Papa? When you are forgiving, you play the part of God. When you are compassionate, you play the part of God. So remembrance becomes more and more clear now. Expansion means remembrance of Him. At least one we have added, in our love circle. 2 we have added. Today we use one particular article. We don't throw it into the waste paper basket. We do it gently. We remember it. We wash the clothes, we wash the vessels, we sweep the surrounding, we dust it, we clean it. To our heart's content, we are remembering Him. When somebody is in trouble, our heart melts for him, feels for him. We are remembering Him. So a touch of love, touch of perfection, touch of dedication, touch of gratitude. All these things are the synonyms of remembrance. and we are trying to connect it with our day-to-day life. Anything else anybody would like to share on these 3 paras?
Expansion is within and without.
Yeah. It makes it very interesting now.
If it is through dialogue, it is more so impressive.
He makes it very, previously we were thinking, how can we do that?
Yes.
Suddenly he says, am I not with you?
Yes.
So in spite of all my limitations,
Sure.
in spite of my feeling inadequate, insufficient, I lack this, I lack that, the mind keeps on listing out. Suddenly he says, shut up.
So there is no full stop for dialogue.
Think about it. I am with you, I have been with you. I am with you, I have been with you.
Swamiji.
Oh.
Swamiji, we have to limit our possessions, Swamiji.
As much as
possible. Then only we can progress in this path. Yeah.
அப்படி வந்து சொல்ல மாட்டோம். ஏன்னா இருக்கப்பட்டவங்களுக்கு பகவான் இருக்காரு. But the more mind space, that means the one possession, when we have the possession, it occupies my mind space. Suppose I possess it, I handle it without the possessiveness, then does it deny me his remembrance?
Yes, Swamiji. Yes, Swamiji. Thank you. Yes, Swamiji. Thank you.
Yeah. And very good. Today also it has been very lively. Kindly think about it. Note down. As many people as possible, they can send an email about the points, not for anything else. Because each one's interpretation of these will definitely help. We are pulling in a common bowl. So it will come from in a different way. So those of you who have got the facility to send an email, kindly send us the 3-4 points of these from these 3. What do you call it? I don't know whether you have got this book with you. If it is there, you tell us. If you don't have, you inform us. We will send it to the soft copy can be sent immediately.
Yes, sir. But Swamiji, please send us the soft copy.
Okay. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram. Pranam. Hey, Tata. I have to go back and see you all,
I see Swamiji, Sannyasa Swamiji come to see you. Swamiji can hear.
Yeah, I saw. I'm seeing her.
He saw. He's seeing.
Hari Om.
Pranam, Swamiji.
Pranam,
Swamiji.
Sadar Pranam, Swamiji.
Sadar Pranam. Okay. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Swamiji.
Hari Om.
Namaskar.